Live from Rialto, California, Mark Flores presents the Pay-Per-Review Podcast. The Cruiserweight Classic, what can we expect from it? Will the club ever become one with Finn Balor? 3 things to love about the WWE brand split and more here on the Pay-Per-Review Wrestling Podcast. And here's your host, Mark Flores. Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Mark Flores. Welcoming you to another great episode of the Pay-Per-Review Wrestling Podcast. Tonight's Pay-Per-Review Wrestling Podcast is brought to you by Game Swappers. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade your retro games and next-gen consoles. That's Xbox One and PS4. You can come into contact with Game Swappers via Instagram at GAMESWAPPERS. That's GAMESWAPPERS. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade. Guys, the Cruiserweight Classic, what can we expect from it? To me, this is basically the WWE showing off all the potential NXT talent that it's going to sign. I myself am a huge fan of this idea that we're going to bring all these lightweight guys. We're going to bring them in. We're going to have a big tournament. Everyone's going to come. Everyone's going to have fun. This is going to be great. I like that idea. I definitely enjoy this Cruiserweight Classic idea. This is something that's very unique because you're bringing several guys from several different promotions, several different walks of life into this tournament, basically to show what they have. Keep in mind that WWE will not sign all of these guys, but expect them to sign some people within the semifinal rounds and above. There won't be a reason why they shouldn't at all. WWE will always use NXT as a revolving door for big-name superstars from any independent pro wrestling promotion around the world. That's just what they have done. WWE is at a point where they're able to get anybody from anyone in any promotion that isn't WWE. They're actually able to get them for a lot more money, and they just buy out their talent. This is something that we, as WWE fans, have to appreciate because now we have people that we thought we weren't going to have 5 years ago. 5 years ago, if you were going to tell me that we were going to have Prince Devitt, Shinsuke Nakamura, Uwa Nation come into the WWE and actually come to NXT, I could have told you were lying. I could have told you were full of shit. But this is something I do enjoy now. In the later parts of the tournament, this is going to be where all of the bigger name talent are going to have bigger matches. This is where you're going to see the guys that WWE is going to potentially sign in the limelight. This is something you want to see. As more of this tournament goes along, you're going to see people in the semifinal rounds, have a lot more. The announcers will have a lot more to talk about as far as they go with them. So this is all of what the Cruiserweight Classic was going to be anyway. It was just going to be a display of what is going to come in the next coming years for WWE and for NXT as well. Please be sure to look out for these guys that are in the Cruiserweight Classic now that are pretty much going to be in the semifinals if you don't expect it now. Cedric Alexander, Zack Sabre Jr., Noam Dar, Rich Swann. Rich Swann is already signed to NXT, so he's just definitely someone to look out for just because he's over with the fans, and a lot of people do enjoy what he has as far as a moveset goes. At its core, this is what the Cruiserweight Classic is. This is what the Cruiserweight Classic is. It's a way for independent wrestlers to be shown and advertised, and it's WWE showing off the young talent that they have. The young talent of tomorrow. They're going to show them today here during the Cruiserweight Classic. This is a very unique event. and not a lot of people not a lot of people are going to take it in as well as I do, or as well as a lot of wrestling fans want to, because this is something that's been unprecedented, something that hasn't been done since the last major tournament for a major promotion. I think that the Cruiserweight Classic is something that has been needed for a long time within wrestling circles. I think that this is a great step for what NXT has to offer as far as, the competitors that are competing in the later rounds. So I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely staying in tune for what the Cruiserweight Classic is going to have. It's going to be something to enjoy, especially in the later rounds. Not during the first rounds or anything of that nature, but when it's going to get really competitive in the later rounds. So be sure to look out for those guys that I've mentioned earlier today for the Cruiserweight Classic. My expectations for the near end of the Cruiserweight Classic will be big. I personally think that Zack Sabre Jr. is poised to win this without a doubt, but we'll see what happens. WWE always likes to throw off people alongside their regular trail. They like to throw in swerves here and there. So it's definitely something to be appreciative of, since you yourself would be a WWE fan listening to this podcast. The next topic that I wanted to take care of as well is a question that comes around a lot to me and to a bunch of other people in wrestling circles. Will the club ever merge with Finn Balor? It should have been done already. To me, Finn joining the club with AJ Styles and Gallows and Anderson is actually, it needs to be done at a major pay-per-view. I think Finn Balor coming in and shocking the world to come to join the club needs to happen at a major pay-per-view, because there needs to be great storylines to accommodate it as well. Even in response to when the NWO was formed, they formed at Bash at the Beach, a major pay-per-view for WCW. I mean, a lot of big things happen during huge major pay-per-views. This can't happen during a Monday Night Raw. This can't happen during a SmackDown either. But another point to bring up is I think that the ship is sailing on the idea that Finn Balor will be the leader of the club initially. Obviously, right now, AJ Styles is leading the club, which is only made up of 3 people, so it only essentially makes it like a trio, but that's neither here nor there. I figure that WWE should have done it a couple pay-per-views ago, but maybe possibly that they're just waiting for Survivor Series, or they're just waiting for SummerSlam. Maybe they're just waiting for a major pay-per-view to do this at. I'm kind of poised to believe that, actually. As much as we want it to happen soon, I would rather have this develop very, very slowly. I need WWE's creative staff to actually have a great, attractive storyline to actually bring this club to prestige. I mean, you got to think about what the Bullet Club does for New Japan Pro Wrestling, what Bullet Club does for Ring of Honor. I mean, this is something that spans different promotions. This is something bigger than the WWE itself in terms of popularity and growth. I mean, I know realistically that they're not going to get the Bullet Club moniker, but WWE has always been has always had a way of doing things their own way, but creatively, as far as that goes. With Finn Balor joining the fold, there's 2 possible scenarios on how this actually develops. One scenario is that Finn shows up and betrays AJ Styles, leading them to have a match at a major pay-per-view. Finn shows up and just simply joins the club. That's also the second scenario I have as well. And these aren't that far-fetched. It's kind of hard to see what WWE might do as far as this goes. I don't know whether or not they're actually going to be putting much attention onto this, but I do hope so. And if they really do care about merchandise sales of the club, they should have already made shirts for the club. I mean, they haven't. The only thing that they've sold was AJ Styles merchandise, and I'm pretty sure that Gallows and Anderson don't have merch at all. They need to have it. I mean, to have the club merchandise, you need to have it. If we need to be serious about this organization, or this faction that WWE has, there needs to be merch for it to actually add validity to them. Even Y2AJ, the tag team that they had before they actually had a match at WrestleMania developed, they had T-shirts. So why the heck won't they have it for the club at all? Especially at this latest stage. I mean, we're seeing that the club actually started almost 3.5 months ago to 3 months ago, I believe. It's really a little late to actually have merch now. I mean, if they're not making merch for it now, they either are going to be waiting for someone to actually have it when they come and debut, a la Finn Balor. I think that's what they're honestly doing. So when Finn Balor actually joins, he actually has one of the club T-shirts, and then boom, you have T-shirt sales skyrocketing. I really do think that that's going to be the end scenario, and that's why they're not actually having merchandise at this point. So the next topic I have as well for this pay-per-view wrestling podcast is three benefits three good things to love about this brand split that's coming up. In the middle of July, the WWE is going to have a brand split where several superstars are going to join Monday Night Raw, and the ladders of the other superstars will join SmackDown. There's three good things to take away from all this. I think that this is a great idea. Overall, I do think that this is a great idea because WWE does have a lot of roster talent to show off, and by only having one 3-hour show to show 50 plus athletes is actually not going to be doing anything good, because you would, if they were to fully serve all of the superstars on one night, you would have to have like 18 5-minute matches. It just wouldn't work out at all. So 3 things to love about the brand split: more roster depth and a ton of variety. More roster depth leads up to more pay-per-views, leads up to more storylines, more things to keep up with, to keep you in tune to SmackDown and to Raw, and a ton of variety. So that's actually one of the good points to bring up, is that WWE's brand split is actually going to be a lot more beneficial than it is bad for the WWE. I mean, this is going to be something that is going to be a calculated move by the WWE. This is something that they're going to have. By them actually doing this in the middle of July, they're actually going to have something very big set up to where you can actually see that they actually delivered this product very successfully. The second thing to love about the WWE brand split is the rivalry between two pseudo factions again. I kind of enjoyed the whole Raw versus SmackDown thing that they did in 2008 and the mid 2000s. I'm getting all tongue tied here. I enjoyed that rivalry thing. I hope that they can actually do something more effective than they did then. I'm not saying that was bad at the time, but this is something that can actually be taken to another level. They know what mistakes that they've made before and what won't work, and they definitely know what will work. So I hope that WWE actually knows to correct the mistakes of the past. And I hate saying that because they are really bad at repeating the same mistakes of the past. And the third thing to love from the WWE brand split will be additional championship titles. They're going to bring back the World Heavyweight title, and they're going to, they actually did rename the WWE Heavyweight title as the WWE Heavyweight title, and now they're going to have the other World Heavyweight title on SmackDown. So expect them to bring out another title as well, maybe the European Championship, possibly the Hardcore Championship, another women's championship as well. So we'll definitely be on the watch for all that. This is something to enjoy as well, because now there's going to be prestige along with these titles, simply because that, you know, there's going to be a lot more superstars tied up to these storylines, tied up to who's going to win the titles. It's going to be a lot to keep up with, but the WWE fans have done it before, and I'm pretty sure that they'll be poised to do it again. And, you know, this might be something. This will be something that WWE fans will enjoy, because there's going to be there's a lot more depth than there was. There's actually a lot more talent than there was before. 5 years ago, if they tried to do this brand split, it would have bombed horribly in their faces, just because the talent wasn't there at that point. But now we have a lot of people from the indie scene that actually can put on spectacular matches. This is definitely something to appreciate. Anyway, this pay-per-view wrestling podcast has been brought to you by Game Swappers. Game Swappers. Buy, sell, and trade your retro games and next-gen consoles. That's Xbox One and PS4. You could come into contact with Game Swappers via Instagram at GAMESWAPPERS. That's GAMESWAPPERS. Game Swappers. Buy, sell, and trade. Alright, guys. That has been the pay-per-view wrestling podcast. I want to let you guys know that if you do share which one of my podcasts, whether it's the Mark and Andre show, whether it's Retro Collecting 101, where I tell you how to amass a retro collection a lot more effectively, or this pay-per-view wrestling podcast, if you share it with anyone through any form of social media, you'll be able to get 10% off towards any purchase at Game Swappers. Or if you don't want to do that, you'll get 10% more towards your trade-ins if you are in the interest of trading games to Game Swappers. So you can do that as well. Other than that, you guys have a good night. Thank you for tuning in to the Pay-Per-Review Wrestling Podcast.